The call tracking platform is a very powerful hub that allows you to purchase phone numbers, track all of your incoming phone calls, listen to the audio playback for them, route calls where they need to be routed to, view phone analytics, and export important metrics across the entire operation of your business straight to your email address. So let's walk through a scenario where we buy a phone number and set up the routing so that when that number is called by a customer, the caller will be routed to our main office. From there, we can listen to the incoming phone calls for that number in our call log menu and receive reporting on all the metrics from the numbers that we've purchased so far. So to purchase a phone number, we're going to have to be under the phone settings in the My Numbers tab. To add a phone number, just scroll to the bottom right portion of the screen and click the green plus sign. This will pull up the channel panel where you'll be able to label the channel name and the media type for the phone number that's going to be purchased. And just a quick side note, the first number that's purchased will automatically be labeled the default campaigning number. This is the phone number that's going to be used to allow your clients to call into your business. Or if you have the text module activated, they can use this number to text you back once you've initiated a text messaging campaign. So the next step here would be in the search number box, you would be able to search for a phone number by local area code, a toll-free search, or a keyword search. And a keyword search would be like your local area code taxes or 1-800-TAX 1040, for instance. So go ahead and click on the search button, and this will display a list of all of the available phone numbers using the search criteria you just input. All of these numbers are currently available and will display if the phone number has text messaging capabilities or not. Once you found the perfect phone number, the next step is setting up what you want the caller to hear when that phone number is dialed. There's two options here. You can either type out the message manually, and this will be read out mechanically to the client when the phone number is dialed, or you can click the button here and upload an MP3 file, and this will be played when the client calls in instead. Lastly, you can decide how you want the call to be routed when the purchased phone number is dialed. And you have four options. You can use a Geo Router, and we'll go over how to set up a Geo Router in a couple moments. You can use the store number. You can use a direct phone number, which is either like a cell phone that you can have the calls routed to, or if you have a call center, you can use this option right here. So let's go ahead and select our store number, and I think we're all finished here. The last thing we can do is select how we want the call to be handled in the event that the caller is outside our serviceable zip code range. So just go ahead and put a fail-safe number here so no phone calls have a chance to slip through the cracks. So when everything looks good, go ahead and click save, and this will pull up a prompt notification that will ask you to confirm whether or not you'd like to purchase the phone number. Go ahead and click yes, and then you'll get a congratulations prompt that will congratulate you on acquiring the phone number that you just purchased. So all of the phone numbers that you've purchased so far will be listed and located here in the My Numbers tab. You can also turn off and on purchase phone numbers whenever convenient by clicking the pause button right next to the phone number that you'd like to suspend. Now, suspending a phone number will not cause you to disown a phone number. That's not what this would do. It would just suspend the phone number so that it can't be called in. So now that we have a phone number, let's set up the Geo Router so that we can configure how the phone call will be routed when it is called by a customer. To add a new Geo Router configuration, go ahead and click the green plus sign in the bottom right portion of the screen, and this will pull up a new Geo Router configuration that we can go ahead and label, as well as provide a brief description of the configuration we're about to set. You can choose one of two options under the prompt menu. You can either silently route the calls to the default receiving number, which is actually what we want to do because ultimately we stated in the beginning we wanted to purchase a phone number and then have that call, when it's called by a client, routed to the store number of our choosing. Now, the other option that we can use is always prompt the caller even if the call can be geo-routed. If that option is selected, you'll then have the option to confirm the caller input and have the system read back the zip code that the customer input back to them to confirm accuracy. You'll then have to configure the message that will be heard by the client when they call in. You can either type the greeting message out or upload an audio file to play when the client calls in. The last step is routing. You can either enter a direct phone number for the phone call to be routed to, or you can elect to have the call routed by a zip code. Now, this comes in handy if you have multiple offices in one market or city. If the call is being routed by zip code, TSS will then ask you to define how far in miles would you like the GeoRouter to match caller locations to the closest store in your umbrella based on the zip code the caller is input. Based on the previous parameter set, a direct phone number can be entered so that the call will be routed to it in case that store is unable to pick up the call for whatever reason. Or you can program the GeoRouter to hang up the phone call altogether as well. Now, the last thing is if you have 2 or more offices in the same zip code, how that particular call is routed can also be defined here in the GeoRouter. And you have 4 options here. You can select simultaneous, which will make all the phones from both offices receive the phone call at the same time. You can select round robin, which will rotate between phones in both offices until a call is answered. You can select sequential, the call will be assigned in a specific order that will cascade until the call is answered. Or you can just use non-selected, and that will route the call to the originally programmed destination of the phone number. So let's set up the GeoRouter so that all of the incoming phone calls that we get for this phone number that we purchased are routed to the store that we want to. And we can just simply do this by entering the office's direct phone number here in the bottom, and this will route all the phone calls directly to that office. So now that we have a phone number and a GeoRouter configured, we're ready to start taking phone calls as soon as that phone number is purchased. And all of the incoming phone calls can be monitored and managed inside the call log. The call log is where you'll find your virtual call center. This is where you can listen to all of the incoming phone calls and have them sorted by either office name, source, phone number, or campaign label. You can click on the green play button to listen to that particular phone call in its entirety. And this is especially helpful because you now have the opportunity to listen to every single phone call so that you can make sure that your tax preparers and your managers are relaying the most correct information that they need to be relaying to the customer. You can also make sure for quality assurance and training purposes on how you would like phone calls to be handled however you'd like. And this is a crucial tool because now you have the opportunity to listen to every incoming phone call that enters your business and make sure that your reps, tax preparers, and managers are not only relaying the correct information to the client, but also implementing the highest level of customer service that can be rendered to every potential and existing client that calls in. Because we all know that there's a cost associated with everything in business. So we want to make sure that we have every opportunity to close our clients once they call in. You can also get a quick snapshot of how the day's going by looking at the top of the call log and seeing the metrics that are provided. Total calls are displayed here, and this is a year-to-date total, as well as all of the unique calls, and these are calls from a different phone number or a call from a number that hasn't been logged into the phone log yet. You'll see other metrics such as the number of phone calls that were directed to a busy line, no answer when a call was made, missed calls, failed calls, and canceled calls. Lastly, we'll go over the reports menu. The reports menu is where you can view analytics and summon a report for every important metric in your business. All of these reports will be sent directly to your email address. And last but definitely not least, let's go over the marketing report, which allows us to view call tracking, which displays our phone analytics in a very clear and easy to read display so that we know which form of marketing is giving us the best and most effective form of ROI. The marketing report displays the total calls, total callers, average ring and talk time, the top marketing call source, as well as the busiest call volume day and hour. These metrics are further broken down into charts that display the different campaigns and their appropriate values so you know which marketing method is giving you the best return on investment. Look, we know the tax season window is very small and it goes by very quick. So it's important to protect yourself and be armed with the knowledge of which marketing medium to funnel your funds into so you can give yourself the best opportunity to have a knockout season.